Hello and welcome to the next e-learning. I want to talk through the transformation time very quickly to give you an idea of what you should do in the next training. You start as always with the icebreaker. It's called this time the secret ideas. So you let the people answer the question, what would have become of you if you didn't have the career you have today? You let them write down these answers on a piece of paper, gather the papers, and then you read out the answers in order to make the others guess who that could be. The idea is to know each other better and even maybe to see how well you know somebody else already. Here you show the agenda. Just remember that you don't write it down as precisely as I do this for you here. This is basically just for you to have a bit of time management. And you simply write down the keywords on your flip chart using the icon you had chosen for agenda. So what we start with quickly going through is you start with the icebreaker, then you do the review as always, so sluggish knowledge. What do you remember from last time and what have you put into action since the last TT? TT now is the abbreviation for transformation time. Also, if you had points and subjects on your parking lot, then you make sure you go quickly through that. What has been accomplished, what has been realized, where do people still need help? And then you basically start into the subject, showing the Kano model, into doing the practices and exercises I'm giving to you now. So here again is the agenda. You prepare on a flip chart. You flip chart for sluggish knowledge. And if you have the parking lot from last time, show it to the people. Now here are the targets for the day. That's always very important in sense of future now. So what will have happened by the time the training is over, which is a short-term future target. But what will you explain? These targets, flip charts, are very important to increase the interest of the people, make sure that everybody's present and following. The Kano model, very quickly, you explain that on the flip chart. In my last email, I asked you to prepare the flip chart. So what you have here is you have two axes. The axis down here is the fulfillment of customer values. In your language, I hope you translated already, and they can be absent here, or they can be completely fulfilled. And the other axis, the vertical axis, is the customer satisfaction, which goes from completely dissatisfied to neutral to satisfied. And then you have the three features, the must-be features, they must be there, the accomplishments, which are important as well. And then you have the nice-to-have, the delighters, which are a complete surprise to the customer. Must-be features, as you can see here, reach out to the fact that the customer is not dissatisfied. They do not satisfy the customer because this customer expects to have must-be features, such as on-time delivery, quality according to the products that were ordered. So really very important that these must-be features are there. When they're not there, when they're not fulfilled, the customer is dissatisfied. Now for the accomplishments, you reach from a dissatisfaction when they're not there, something special, like a price discount, for example. You reach out from a dissatisfaction to the more accomplishments you have, the more satisfied is the customer. Accomplishments are also, let's say, expected by the customer, but less than must-be features. So accomplishments is the more you have, the higher reaches the satisfaction of the customer. Delighters only satisfy the customer. So the customer doesn't expect delighters, they're complete surprise. So when you have a few delighters, one here, one there, make sure not too many, but you will reach a very complete and absolute satisfaction with delighters. But the tricky thing about delighters, once you implemented them, so for example, calling the customer for his birthday, or sharing news with the customer, let him participate in the development of new products. The more often you do that over time, delighters become must-be's. So make sure that with delighters, you do have them once in a while. You do sell them, especially to maybe find new customers. But also be a bit careful with how many delighters you offer to the customer, because as I say, when there are too many, they turn into must-be's after some time. So as next exercise from that, the theory is over. You can explain that in 10 minutes, more or less, because the salespeople already know the Kano model. But in the last e-learnings, when we did this, when I traveled around and saw the people, not everybody participated. So for some, it will be really new to think of, and that's the group work, to think of must-be features, to think of accomplishments, and to think of delighters. Once they have done that, you come into the best practice. And the best practice is always the idea to add this to the conversation guideline, to add this to something you actively do, especially with new customers, but of course as well with the customers you have already. Yeah. So the best practice is you let your participants think of open questions, very important. Why, when, how, what do you think about? You let them sell these, especially accomplishments and delighters. You let them sell these accomplishments and delighters to the customer by asking open questions. As for example, I have given you 2 examples here. How often have you already bought stainless steel online? So this is an idea to sell actively IAPERAM. And then the customer has to answer something like, oh, never, or very often, or no, but I think that could be a very good idea. And then you can say, hey, really super, we have IAPERAM. And then you talk about IAPERAM. Or for a delighter is, for example, to let somebody openly express his or her desires. So if you had 3 wishes to your stainless steel supplier, if you had 3 wishes to me, what would they be? And just see what the customer says. And then, of course, try to fulfill these delighters. But this is a best practice exercise you let the participants do. So and what you do after that, you write down their suggestions, you write down the answers, and then you add these questions to the conversation guidelines. So bit by bit, with every TT training, you enhance the conversation guideline and you send it out to the sales, but also make it public in the shared folder you have. That's basically it. And then you do your feedback process the way you had done it before. Okay, so if you have any more questions, please get back to me. That was it for this time. This presentation will be sent to you as well. You can take out whatever you like, but actually make sure not to show presentations, but to work with Flipchart in a very creative and open way. Take care and talk to you soon. Bye-bye.